Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing for the HeroQuest gaming system. Now this is the re-release version, or the updated version, maybe I guess you could call it even a second edition if you want. That was released in 2021 through Hasbro and Avalon Hill. I love these companies that are re-releasing and just modernizing or upgrading some of the components and stuff for old games. So this game came out in, 2021. They've re-released a bunch of the old expansions. Some of them they've combined. Some of them they've actually made brand new ones. So that's pretty cool. And this game has a special place in its heart for me, because the original came out in 1989. So when I was a wee little lad, growing up in the Shire, apparently, me and my brother had this game. And what was super exciting about this. So, if you're not familiar with what the concept of the game is, this is basically like Dungeons and Dragons or an RPG game in board game form. So normally a role-playing game, especially way back in the day when D&D, now you can buy tons of highly painted miniatures. You can buy all these special books and cards and all this stuff go with it. Way back in the day, not that stuff didn't exist, but it wasn't the common thing for most people to have. It was just a pen and pencil game. So this kind of brought D&D, or dungeon crawling RPG games, to a board game element. And I think it was because it gave the visual aspect. So you can kind of see here on the game, you had a dungeon master board behind, and then you had this dungeon that was created with doors and little miniatures and stuff. And what was really fun about this game was, you had, and different about it from lots of other games I played, especially when you're thinking, years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, not that there wasn't cool special games like this either, but lots of games most kids played were retail games: Monopoly, Clue, Trouble, things like that. Stuff you'd find at your local retailer store. So this is a big, fancy, cool extra game. But what also made this game really special for me and my brother, I would have to imagine, he's not sitting here next to me, so I can't ask him, is that we played this with my mom. And I played lots of board games with my mom, so that's nothing different. But she played the Dungeon Master so that me and my brother could play the heroes. And I think that's something incredible when a parent is willing to do that. They're gonna, basically, you're playing the bad guy. They're playing the gamekeeper, the role master. They are semi-active in the game, but they don't get to do all the cool stuff like we gotta do. We gotta peek in a room, look for treasures, play combat cards and spells to defeat skeletons and goblins and orcs and stuff. Where she had to kind of sit there and be like, okay, I got what's on the board. Okay, I gotta roll dice. And then also having to help, we were both fairly young when we played this. I mean, not like toddlers, but we were young enough that we also needed help probably learning this. So I think that was a great experience. So I'm really super happy they brought this back. Sorry for the whole nostalgic explosion here. So I want to go through what is in this upgraded box. I'm going to do it kind of all in one video. We're just going to do a regular unboxing component video, show off all the different stuff in here. I'm going to do a brief look through the rule books and stuff, but I'm not going to do a full how to kind of play video in here, really go too in-depth on how each different stuff and I normally do for some of my other videos. I would love to do a full comparison video to the old game if I can find the rest of it. I found parts of it. But again, as of now, so even if I bought the game in it came out in 89, so even if I bought it in 90 something, even 90, the game is over 30 years old. 35, 30, 36 years old. From the time I'm posting this video. So the fact is I found any of the components from a 30-year-old game is pretty impressive. So if I can find more of it, I would like to try and show off. Even if I can't, I might do Just some of it in another video. Just kind of show off some of the component comparisons to how they updated it. And I'm hope to pick up some of the expansions and show up what some of the other cool stuff they had. I unfortunately I never actually knew there were more expansions to this game, let alone owned any. So that's incredible that I can now, as an adult, go back and pick up my nostalgic childhood and make it even more fun. Yeah, so this is the game system. I also want to note before I get too far into this video is they are releasing a alternate version of the box set. So this is the core set. I know that I don't remember exactly what it's called, but they're releasing a secondary core set now that has brand new stuff in it. So I think the idea is for people that maybe want to hop into the game now, they can find it's a cheaper version. Not the components ever, but I think it has some less stuff in it. It's a little bit more compact. Maybe less. I think instead of having 4 characters, it might only have 2. Heroes you can play as has a couple less enemies. It's just meant to be a little like, here's a quick starter game, and then now you can add more of the expansions, or you can pick up the big box and get a lot more content. And I think that's actually a really cool idea too, so hopefully I can get that picked up and do that. So one thing we go on with that, we're going to kind of take a quick look through the rulebook. Yeah, I'm not going to go through everything. But yeah, one big thing to know about this game is, like I said, there's one person that had to play as the Dungeon Master. And then everyone else got to play as the heroes to go around. But this is also a really neat idea because it's a hidden information game as well. So it says, take note, throughout the rulebook, there's information for Zargon. Zargon is the bad guy. He's the Dungeon Master. There's information just for the heroes. There's some information that's useful for playing the game, information that can affect the gameplay. So it kind of gives you little guides in here, which is probably really nice. Yeah, so what makes this game unique? Okay, one player takes on the role of Zargon, the evil sorcerer in control of the game. The other players assume the roles of heroes, the barbarian, the dwarf, the elf, and the wizard. 2 to 5 players is playing 14 subsequent game sessions called quests. Each quest is described in the rulebook. So that's just neat, because you actually play through and keep playing through each one to the next one. You can play them random if you really want, but some of them have extra cool things that, like, you get bonuses if you kind of go through each thing. You get to build your character from one game to the next. Heroes work... Quest may take an hour or 2 to play, with each subsequent quest increasing in difficulty. During a quest, hero may acquire valuable treasures. These riches may be used between quests to purchase powerful weapons and protective armor from the armory. Heroes work together to beat Zargon, the evil sorcerers, the forces of dread. Individually, winning is not the goal. United, the heroes stand, divided, they fall. And the adventure never ends. There are more scenarios. So that's also really fun, because, again, when I was a kid, lots of stuff like, and again, I'm going back like the basic retail games, Monopoly, Clue, Trouble. You played the game, you were done. You played another game, you were done. You started over fresh. This was also one of them cool, fun things, again, which kind of went with like D&D or RPG type games, where you gotta carry your stuff from one game to the next. So it's like finding that treasure was worth it because, I got this. Or if you found something that might help one of your teammates, I gotta get back, or you gotta help them. And again, I think that's part of the nostalgic thing that made it really great for me is because, it's like I'm playing a game with my brother, not against my brother. Because like a lot of the other games, again, like Trouble or Clue or Sorry or any, you're always versus each other. There wasn't a ton of cooperative games as a kid. So this is actually really fun for that reason. So then, like, you gotta kind of team up and do stuff together. And I think even great when you're doing it as a family, because you have a parent kind of watching over you, if you have the proper guy, and again, it doesn't have to be a parent. You could take this game now, bring it to your game group, and you as an adult playing with your adult friends, if you have somebody that's able to like, they can teach the game while playing the DM, that's even cooler, because in that way they can kind of help out new players playing the game until they figure it out, but while still be able to kind of hide behind, because although yes, you're playing against them, it's not a versus game against the DM directly, where it's like, you can't play Magic and have the other player really help you, because then they're going to know what your cards are, you're going to know what their cards are, and it's, and then you're going to use that information instinctively whether you want to or not. Where this game you kind of can, but, like, it's very interesting, so, yeah, so this is kind of cool. So if you're Zargon, you'll be running through a quest. Necessary, read through the game rules first. Remember, quest books are for your eyes only. They're a section of the quest that must be read to the players, and they'll notice through a passion book. So we have a cool little quest book we'll look at. Take a look at that. So here's telling you how to set up the game, some quest notes. I'm not going to, again, I don't want to get into too much of all this detail. Game board, we have our character cards, attack dice, defense dice. So on your character cards, so go mention your attack dice. There's how many dice you roll doing damage. Wizard, not definitely do as much damage as like a barbarian. Defense, how much damage they can kind of absorb. Body points, which is their health, basically. And mind points, which is their magical skills. So, like, of course, a mage has a lot of magic, doesn't have a lot of physical attack. We get these cool character sheets to keep track of all this. You can keep writing your stuff down. And then we have all these different cards you get. You get treasure cards, artifact cards, monster card, and dread spells. And then later expansions actually add... so some dread spells will only be used with quest packs. So some can be used in anything. Some can only be used with certain quests. There's going to be other cards that might be specific to character classes as well. Because we're going to have hero spell cards. So here we just have some elements. Air, fire, earth, and water. But you're going to get some later, like a druid might have his own specific spells and stuff like that. So yeah, this is really cool thing. At the beginning of the quest, kind of going through, you have some different actions you can play. So on a hero's turn, you may move and then perform an action, or perform an action and move. It's very simple, but you can't do both. And when you finish your movement, when you perform an action, do one of the 6 following actions. Attack, cast a spell, search for treasure, search for a secret door, search for traps, or disarm traps. So this is where the hidden stuff comes in, because you have to search for things. You don't know what's in a room without looking for it. And there's looking for doors, opening doors, attacking around each other, rolling dice for defending, how you attack and defend. There's all this different rules for all that kind of stuff. Casting spells. So here's what I just want to get this. Searching for treasure. Treasure is found only in rooms, not in corridors. A room may be searched by all 4 heroes, but individually, a hero will search the room once, and may only do so on their turn. How do you search for a treasure? A hero may search for a room. As a hero, you must first verbally declare you're searching. Do so by saying, I am searching for treasure. Search for treasure means you're looking around, opening things, searching interesting objects, and gold coins, regardless of what square you are in the room. Do not move your hero figure when you search. If no special treasure is called out in the quest book, you must draw a random card from the treasure deck and read it aloud. The card can offer you a variety of things, including riches and magic potions. Or any gold coins. So this is kind of fun, because some of the quest books might be like, well, in this room, there's this specific item or questing you might need, which might not have a card or enchantment. This might be like a thing you have to remember you have. Like, oh, you're trying to actually find like this magical watch, right? And a magical scepter. And it might be in that room, and the book will say that room has this. But if you don't have it, then you just draw a cool card. Yeah, then you get some stuff like that. You could find wandering monsters in the room. In hazards, in traps. If there's traps, you can search for traps. So that way you don't walk into them. Otherwise, you could just actually walk into a trap, which is kind of an interesting idea. So it says, like, only Zargon knows where these traps are hidden. As a hero, if you move on a square that contains a pit, a falling block, or a spear trap, you automatically spring the trap. So what you want to do is, when you want to get into a room, you might want to declare it. And the thing is, though, every time you stop to look for that, so you don't walk into them, you're spending one of your turns. So that means monsters still get a move, things can still happen. So it's not always, so sometimes you have to take that gamble. So yeah, a couple different types of traps, explains how they all work. On the sorcerer's turn, the DM's turn, they get to perform 2 actions. Each monster can perform 2 actions. Attack or cast a dread spell. Certain monsters may only cast a spell. Monsters may not search for treasures, doors, pass over heroes, move through walls, open doors. stuff like that. So they get their attack actions, they get to cast spells. And they have any quest. As a hero, you successfully complete a quest only when you have achieved the quest goal and have returned safely to the stairway. Quest may be ended early by players who voluntarily return to the stairway before completing all the quests, or all 4 heroes die. There's usually a final treasure associated with completing the quest. Your valiant actions are rewarded by splitting rewards amongst heroes. After completing a quest, circle the response quest number on your sheet and keep a track of it. Then what happens between quests? As a hero, your starting body and mind points are automatically restored when successfully completed your quest and return to the safety of the stairways. All spells return to the hero cast them. I mean, now visit the armory to purchase new weapons and gold you have accumulated. Be patient and make a few quests where you can purchase anything. Since there are so few things that you can buy in the armory, it would be wise to save your money, so wizards don't get as much stuff. But again, this is where expansion and stuff help out with that. Lost artifacts, unfinished quests. If a quest ends with asterisk results, goes unfinished, you should modify the quest before it's replayed. Just by creating a new adventure using a blank map and symbols in the quest book. So you could like remove some monsters or do some other cool stuff there. So that is really neat there. So we're going to look at some of the other game components quick before we look at the other rule book. I just want to look at the board here. So this is a massive board. This is a pretty big board. So it starts out, it is completely blank. Each room has a little bit different thing. Like this has a couple of smaller rooms, this has some bigger rooms. Now the colors and stuff and that don't really make any difference. And you might be like, well, this is pretty bland. It is. It is very bland. Because you're going to, as you go through the game, you're going to add things to the thing to make it. You're going to add doors. You're going to add different things in each room to make them interesting. So if we look at the quest book here, this is actually one of the things the Dungeon Master is going to use to set up the game. So we're just going to look at the first one. I don't want to spoil a lot, but this is the trial. It says, at the beginning of the game, only the parchment text should be read to all players. So you're going to read this out loud and do this, and then here you're going to say, Zargai may tell everyone there are no traps or traps or secret doors in the first quest. However, you shall also warn there's a tough adventure meant to show players the chance of all depends on how well they work together. So you can tell them if you want. There's no traps or secret doors, so you're not spending extra turns on the first one. Then there's some notes in here, of course, for different letters on the map. Like if you go to A, the weapon racks are chipped, rusty, and broken. Nothing is here the heroes would want. B, the treasure chest is empty. C, Mummy is a guardian of this, and he's a special version of an enemy. D, first hero here gets 84 gold. First hero gets this one, gets 120. And if you have a wandering monster, you get an orc. So here we set up the map. And I actually have this upside down for how this is going to look. So let me flip the board around. I'm not going to set this up right now, but this is what a map is going to look like on here. So dark shades are considered solid rock. So you're going to put some extra little tokens on the board. You can show where there's blocked areas. But here's where the stairs come in. So the heroes are going to start here. And then they can, we can use this door. That's the only thing that's going to appear. Then when they walk out in the hall, they can see down the hallway. So now they can see this door. And they can see this blocked wall. So they're going to add that door and that. So they know there's stuff that direction. If they go this direction and they look up, same thing. They'll see a door there. They'll see that. They won't see anything else. You won't actually see what's in a room until you open the door. And that's, now you're going to strike. Monsters will stay in the doors. They won't do anything until you actually go in there. But there's a bunch of cool stuff. There's some tables, weapon racks. There's some treasure chests. And they're mentioning down here, here's that big bad guy they mentioned. The special boss. There's a catacomb or a tomb. A spell table. But yeah, so if like you come down this hallway, then you'll see this, and you have to go this direction, look up here, you can see these two, and so forth. And wherever there's blocked walls, you can't go through. And you can even see like right here, these two little rooms right here aren't used on this map. So this is really fun, because I'm going to just jump into a little bit later one. So you got one like this, it's all spread out a little bit more. And then this one's this is quest 11, so like halfway through the book. So we still have our block things, we have more some different monster types. But now we also have some pit traps that are in here too. We have a secret door over there. It's a fun thing. Like, look at this little hallway that goes all the way around. It's kind of neat. Yeah, they're gonna have a couple. I'm gonna show off one more. I don't want to get too many. So we have one like this, the Lost Wizard. So someone's gonna have a very interesting setup. You're gonna have to come out, go through this room to get out to the hallway, and then look, you have guards around there. It says all Dread Warriors in this quest are made of stone and may roll 1 extra defense. So yeah, you get some really nice stuff, really cool stuff there. Then in the very back of the book, we have a blank map. So you could copy this or print it, make your own. Especially nowadays on a computer, you probably just go online and print one off. And then it has a list of all the different things. So goblins, orcs, skeletons, zombies, abominations, all the different enemies, different things. Plus it's showing how many you have of each one. So that way you can be like, oh, I'm going to make this map. So you print off this entire, both sheets of these. Okay, I added 3 goblins. So you're not adding more than what you have for miniatures. So that's really fun, because then even after you've played all, 13 quests, 14 quests, you can then go through and make your own up. There's a little bit of information on the back about all the monsters, which is really cool. So that's just also really neat. And then, again, you can always buy your own stuff, or you can, again, you've played this a bunch, you can make up your own missions and quests as if you were, like a regular Dungeons & Dragons map or game or whatever, which is really cool. And again, more expansions, you'll have more different monsters, different types, different items to be placed around the board, as well as different heroes to play as, which is cool. So here's our Dungeon Master screen. This is also really fun. It shows, here's what the heroes can do. Here's what monsters can do. It's a good reminder. Here's how combat works. So this, again, is a really helpful thing for someone teaching the game. And that's also showing all this. Now, this might be the one possible-ish downside of this, is that as more and more expansions came out, this information is going to be as readily available, unless it's basically all zombies or orcs or abominations. All might just have different versions or colors. Some of them do. They might have an ice one or a stone one, or they might all share the exact same type of thing, just might have a special ability if it's a different kind. But yeah, that can kind of sit there, and then they can do their stuff. So we have a sheet of tokens here. So here's our stairwell. Here's some of our block tokens. We have some skulls, some rubble traps, some pit traps there. Flip them over. They're on the other side. You have our stone blocks, so that way you can put them in. We have some secret passages, some gateways, some doors there, some up and down stairs if you want to use those instead of spiral stairs. So that's kind of cool as well. Just extra little neat stuff. Again, I almost wish something like this, you had like another sheet of these just so you could have more combinations of things. But that's how you place these down. So like, if I pop one of these out and I wanted to put a double block in there, that's it. I have seen, and if you've seen lots of my other videos, I like to buy upgrading stuff. And this might be a game I'd definitely buy some upgrades. That blends in very well. And you can put a grate down there instead to show its blocking, stands out a little bit more. That does block that, or blends in pretty well, but you can still see it if you had to. But a cool 3D upgrade would be really neat as well. Alright, so then, the other thing we have in here, I'm going to just slide these things off to the side so I don't accidentally knock them off the table. We have 2 big trays worth of miniatures. And this is the old game didn't have this. The old game was literally like, here's a box, old side in the box, you just chucked all your components in there, because that's how old games used to be. They didn't come with all this cool stuff. So we get a big old tray here. If I can get this out, of all of our different monsters. So and we'll take a little bit closer look at this in just a sec. But yeah, we got all our different cool monsters on here. So they kind of come in different colors to kind of show, just kind of help them stand apart. Like the undead stuff are kind of green. The goblin orc things are kind of green, or white. The goblin orc characters are in your green color, you're kind of like demon type creatures on a gray. And then I know some of the expansions you get maybe some like fire or ice type, which are like red and blue. That kind of just helps you visually to stand stuff out. You can paint all these too, which would be really awesome. Red characters are all your different class characters, plus you have all your really cool dice. So we'll pull each one of them out and look at them in a little bit more detail. I just want to finish looking through the rest of the components. In the other tray, we have a lot of the other bulk components. So we have all these doors you can pull out. So here's your door, and this is the stuff that's going to go on your map to show that. If there's a bookcase in there, oh look, there's a bookcase in this room here, and I have a door. Or there's the weapon rack. And that kind of adds that little 3D element to the game. And then, like, I can grab some of my miniatures. So, like, we walk into this room and we have our mage is in this room, but he has to deal with, and grab an orc out, he has to deal with an orc. Add some of the color. They even have some little tiny, like, aesthetic-y stuff. Like, we can get little rats. Or this one, which I haven't popped out. These are little, like, skulls or other things you can set on like the tables and stuff and underneath, just to add a little extra aesthetic to stuff. And we'll look at all these components here a little bit more in just a second as well. We have our treasure chests. Then we get this big giant pad for our character sheet. So this is just so you grab your character, you can write all your stuff down quick, your attack, your points, your starting points. If you have specific weapons, things you've collected throughout the game. And there's a decent chunk of these. You can play a lot. So maybe after a couple of games, you might need to get rid of this and maybe add some new ones. Then we have all of our cards. Now, I will say one thing that's kind of like most games. They don't make these things able to have sleeved cards in them, unfortunately. So if you want to sleeve your cards to help protect them, you're going to have to have a different way to store them than in these boxes, unfortunately. But yeah, all the cards kind of have, like, they kind of stuck with this old school, like, pen drawing artwork, which is very, very detailed. When it's on, like, the scroll, I think these are updated drawings, but they're very reminiscent of how the old ones used to look. So these are all your different, so you have, like, different equipment and things like that, and artifacts. Yeah, so on the back here, then it's going to show we have artifact deck, we have equipment, dread spells, which are like the bag ones. We have our treasure cards, we have our elemental spells. So like some of the treasure you can find is we might find a gem. And I love it, it's not just like 35 gold or it's a jewel. It actually kind of gives some, like, tucked into the toe of an old boot, you find a small gem worth 35 gold. Record the money in your character sheet. Or if you find, a hazard where you're searching hero sheet from the wall. So it adds that extra depth for it. Like a potion of strength, if you find one. A small purple flask. You can drink this strange meal anytime, being able to roll 2 extra dice. So it's not just like potion of strength, roll for 2 to next combat, They actually have, like, little extra things, even like your spells and stuff, have a little extra detail. Your weapons, we have the battle axe. Here's going to show how many coins it's worth in case you want to sell it. May not be used by the wizard, so wizard can't use a battle axe. Broadsword can't be used by the battle axe. Chainmail can't be used by the wizard. So lots of this stuff can't be used, but they do mention if they're in armor. Wizard doesn't get a lot of stuff in this sec. But that's because they have all the ranged magic attacks. That's the difference. It's basically the mage doesn't get all the equipment because they're getting all these extra spells to play around with. And that's kind of the trade-off, which is always fun. I loved playing as a mage. My brother always played as the barbarian. Then, of course, we have our reference cards, which are very helpful. Just a reminder of what you can do. And then we also have little cards for each character. So this is when you pick out your character. You have your information there. It has its movement. They get how many dice they get, what starting weapon they get. They have starting armor. So you get one for each character. Yeah, it's just really neat. So, like, dagger, short swords, none of them have starting armor. They all have 2 movement for dice, so they're all fairly similar to the base game. But then we also get one, and it's on the back here. It's kind of, like it's like for the wizard. You have many spells, however, you do not wear armor and use large weapons. You must cast the spell wisely. Like Barbarian, beware of magic, for your sword has no defense against it. You know, Elf uses both magic and sword. So yeah, very, very cool. We have those. And then lastly, for the last little component thing, we have monster cards. And these are also really cool. So we have all this stuff that was listed on the Dungeon Master board, but you can have little cards. So you can pass them around. You can shows what the symbol goes to them. You can kind of see cool detailed pictures of each one, which shows how many spaces they move, their hit points, all that fun stuff as well. And that's really a neat aspect of the game. So that's what we have for this part of the video. So I think I'm going to do this as kind of just, I'm going to do this as a long video. This has already been a pretty long one. We're going to do a second, just continue with this. Where I'm going to show off all the miniatures quick. So I'm just going to clean this up. I'll be right back. Alright, so for part 2 of this video, it's the same video, but we're going to look over all the miniatures, and then we'll look over all the cards to kind of see what's all in here. So we're going to start off with our warrior, or our hero characters. So we have our Barbarian. So Barbarian, you're the greatest warrior of all, but beware of magic, for your sword has no defense against it. Yeah, so here's a miniature for that. Definitely really cool detailed. The bandages on there, the runes on the sword. Very, very cool. So yeah, there is him. Kind of set him off to the side there. So I just want to look at his card as well. So Barbarian has 3 attack dice, 2 defense dice, but he has 8 body and 2 mind. So your body's kind of your health. And he gets to start with a broadsword. So he gets to start with an extra weapon, which will have additional thing. I must see if I can find that one really quick. I didn't think about looking for this stuff. Just to kind of see what they start with. So we have broadswords. Yeah, he starts with a broadsword. So it's like this blade gives you attack strength of 3 combat dice. May not be used by the wizard. So you get 3 additional dice for combat. Which is really cool. So if we just so we kind of have a little bit of an idea of what these dice do. So I'm not going to go through how to play them, but yeah, their attack dice is just how much they do. So like when you're attacking, it says, as a hero, you must roll the white combat dice to attack a monster. The number of dice depends on the weapon you are using for the attack. Check your characters. Check your character for your attack strength. If you fail to roll any skulls, your attack fails. Each skull that you roll is considered a 1 hit, resulting in 1 body point of damage scored against the monster. Hit immediately defends by rolling the defending dice, and then they're trying to get the black shield. Many monsters kill with only 1 hit. Some monsters require hit points as skull tiles. So this is pretty much how that works. So it just says here, these weapons allow you to increase your attack and defense strength. May also give you unique combat advantages. For instance, daggers and crossbows are special weapons with the ability to hit a monster from a distance. Some long weapons like staff and launcher allow you to attack diagonally. Attack is made defending normally. So yeah, so like it just lets you hit at different angles or different things, which is really cool. So you're going to be able to do some different stuff there. I just see if I have any other extra things, but yeah, so you're yeah, you get roll more dice the more powerful your character is. So the attack dice reflect fighting power of the hero during the quest. Hero strength is continually changed by events. And defense depends on how much damage they can do. So basically, the higher your number is, so like these guys are gonna get a roll for doing more damage. Doesn't get to use as much mind stuff though. Cool. So we're just gonna hop into our next character. We have you are the dwarf. You are a good warrior with the unique ability to disarm traps without a toolkit. In doing so, you must avoid rolling a black shield on a combat guy. So this is a special one. So basically the barbarian is just, he can use a lot more of the equipment, the armor, the bigger weapons, than most of the other guys. He has lots of the big melee strength, lots of extra health. But he doesn't have anything generally extra special he gets to do. He's just strong. The little dragging on the axe is really cool. The dwarf gets the ability to try and disarm traps. So they only have 2 attack dice, 2 defense dice, 7 and 3. And they start with a short sword. So luckily these are all actually in alphabetical order, so I can look that up pretty quick. Gives you a combat strength of attack strength of 2 combat dice. May not be used by the wizard. So that gives you 2 dice. No to use. Our third hero is the elf. So you are the elf. You are master of both magic and the sword. You must use both well if you are to triumph. You have the power to cast 3 magical spells, all relating to one element. Okay, come on. There we go. So yeah, a little ruined sword. But we get a female character, which is always fun to get. Nice kind of like cloak and shield. Let me flip the card over. We can see a little bit better picture of what they're supposed to look like. Yeah, so very neat. Got some potions on her hip. So again, like the dwarf, has 2 attack, 2 defense, 6, but has 4 mind. So you do more mind damage than physical damage. But they can still at least do decent amount. And then lastly, we have the wizard. And there's the wizard with his big old moon staff. So it says, you are the wizard. You have the ability to cast many different spells. You, however, cannot wear armor or use large weapons. Therefore, you must cast your spells wisely to avoid physical combat where you are weak. So they have 1 attack, 2 defense, 4 bodies, not a lot of health, and 6 mind. So the way the magic spells actually work, there's currently in this set, there's 4 elements. Earth, fire, wind, water. I think the 4 different elements. So how it works is the wizard gets to pick one group they want to use. Then the elf picks the second of the 3. They get to pick one of the last 3. Then the wizard gets the other one. So the wizard gets 9 total spells to use. The elf gets 1. They get 1 element. The wizard gets the other 3. And then as you add more expansions, they might add, some of them might add some other ones that you can add in there. I know that some of them are class specific, like the druid can only use the druid spells, for example. But yeah, if they added any more for the other ones, I'm not for sure. That'd be kind of cool. For other mage characters, or if you're playing more than one type of mage. But that is a neat way to do that. So they get a lot more magic, versus the elf kind of gets the middle. The barbarian's just all about attacking. And the dwarf has attacking, but they have the unique ability to disarm traps without having to spend extra actions to do it. Which is really cool. Oh, I didn't look at what they started with. So he starts with the dagger. The sharp knife gives you attack strength of 1 combat die. It can also be thrown at any monster, but is lost once it's thrown. So kind of neat. You can chuck it if you want to gain an extra ranged attack. And the elf also has a short sword, much like the dwarf. Although the dwarf is using an axe, I don't know why he didn't start with an axe instead. Would have made a little bit more sense, but that's what that is. Alright, so let's take a look at some of our monsters. What is really fun about the monsters here is that they have they have a bunch of different sculpts. So here we have some goblins. So I have a little goblin here. Hopefully my screen picks this up. So they have 10 movement squares, 2 attack dice, 1 defense, 1/1. So they're pretty easy to take out. Little goblins are generally pretty minor. But yeah, we get 2 of each model, which is really fun. They're all the same. They do all the same stuff. They could have just made 6 of the exact same characters, but they made a bunch of different ones. So we have this one's kind of wielding a big butcher's knife. We have the one that looks kind of a little bit more like the artwork. He has a little short sword. Little armor on him, which is really cool. And then we have a female one as well, which is also neat. And she has double little daggers instead. And I like, yeah, each have different weapons to kind of represent, hey, they're not just a male or female version of the same character, but they each have different things. And then also it's the fact there's a height difference. So, like, those 3 guys, there's them compared to the barbarian, and there's them compared to the dwarf. So they're just a little bit shorter than a dwarf, but they're like half the height of a barbarian, which is also really neat. Then the same thing is we have our orcs. So I'm going to move all these guys down here for a sec. And we have 6 different goblins. We have 8 orcs. So we get 2 male and 2 female. And they're going to have 8 movement, 3 attack dice, 2 defense, 1 body point, 1 mind point. So they don't take a lot of damage either. But here's the one kind of from the artwork. I have the big armor on there. It's really cool. Big giant sword, big dumb look. But yeah, I mean, like, it's like plated armor, which is really neat. It could just make it really straight. But that's really cool. So we have the male orc with the sword. We get a female orc, which is nice representation. You don't often see, I know, like Warcraft came out, I don't know if female orcs were really like a thing that people really paid too much of attention to. But so she's kind of like the complement. She has a nice like hooked little sword there as well. And then we get a second male, and we have 2 of each of these. Again, they all do the same thing, but it just helps divvy some gibby stuff up. Plus, then some of the quests might be like, you can have something like, oh, there's a special version. So it's like, one of the orcs on there is the commander. So you can use like, this guy's the commanding orc, and then use all the other models. And that way you don't have to try and remember which one's which. As much. Just, hey, the guy there's only one of. Yeah, this guy's a big old battle axe. And then the 4th one we have is the other female, who's not wearing as hefty battle armor, but she's got this big giant mace. Yeah, so definitely cool. So we have some orcs there. And then again, if we kind of compare that to our 2 different heights, so she about the same size as a barbarian, you know. So they all scale really nicely together, which is really good. Alright, then our other green creature we have is our abominations. These are like our aquatic fishmen. They have a kind of trident, it's a bident, I guess, is that what you would call it? It has a spear with an extra little pokey part on it. But yeah, like piranha fishmen, and he's wearing little shorts or like a little skirt cloth. But yeah, these guys are definitely kind of creepy. There's not really any water elements in here, so they're interesting for that. But yeah, so those are those dudes. And we get 3 of them. So we do get a couple different ones of those. Same model for all 3, but we get 3 of them. Then we have our undead characters. So we're going to start with our mummy in the white. And we only get 2 of these. We get 2 mummies. Again, some of the expansions will add more of these and add some different types as well. But yeah, I'll just go detail on the bandages. All that's really fun. So I haven't been reading off any of their stats. They're posted there if you want to check them out. We're going to get the zombies. Because, you know, what would a fantasy game be without zombies? He just picked up a sword and shield, but he's all like disheveled and his neck's broken. And I do like that. Like, if I've done a lot of other zombie games, like Zombicide and stuff, where they're all just like, you know, like regular people hobbling around. Even like the warriors, lots of times don't have their weapons. You know, they've dropped them, and this kind of makes sense. These guys are zombies, but they're gonna fight you. They're just resurrected, you know, fallen soldiers that came in here, and we have 2 of those. And then we get 4 Skellymen. Skeletons. Even get this to focusing on him a little bit. And just slide these guys off to the side for a second. Yeah, so this guy's kind of cool. Yeah, he's basically the undead as well, but he's even more dead. He's been dead for a long time. But I also like the fact that he has, like, more body armor and stuff. Like, maybe he's not the new adventurer. He's a guy that was in there for a while. Plus, he has that cool scythe, which is really neat. Even the artwork is really cool. So yeah, we get 4 of them guys. So we have all of those, and like, yeah, there's our barbarian in there. A little bit taller than them. Then we get our dread characters, or our kind of bad guys, or our other bad guys, I guess. The harder ones. And we're going to start with the gargoyle. Big, giant stone badass. So he's carrying a big, giant axe, big, giant sword. He definitely looks like he is made of stone. He's got, like, cracks all over on his wings. He's got, you know, big tail. Cracks on his body and stuff, too. Very demonic look. Just these guys are definitely going to be a little bit harder to take out. And we get 2 of them, I believe. No, we get 1. We get 1 gargoyle. So gargoyles don't run as rampant throughout the thing, but it's, you know, kind of more of a bossy type character. And then we get the Dread Warriors, which we get 4 of these guys. And these guys are definitely very demonic. Looking, look at, like, a face on his armor there, but then he also got a face on his shield. Another big old mace. Big old bloody tape. So you guys are definitely going to be a pain to fight too. They have high defense as well. And if we kind of compare those guys, so there are those 2 next to our barbarian. So same about height, because it's a person size, but the gargoyle is a little bit taller. Then again, we compare him to our tiny dwarf there. Then the last one we have in here, we don't actually have a card for, because it's not a regular summoned enemy. It's more like a special enemy that comes out. And it is our Dread Wizard. So there'll be various quests in the thing that might reference special characters. So this could also be the bad guy, the main bad guy, but it's just listed as a Dread Wizard because it'll take place as multiple characters. So there's a big guy, Skelly Evil Man. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We get one of him as well. Alright, so that was all of our different miniatures. I do want to take a quick look at the dice. So we have these really cool looking dice. I'm going to maybe move this back over to the center. So here's the Lion Shield. This is if you're protecting against damage. We have the Black Shield, which is the opponent's victory thing. And then we have the Skulls, which are actually dealing the damage. So basically it's like bad guys blocking, your guys blocking, everything else is just regular damage. And it's 2 of your shields, 1 of their shields, and the rest are things. And we get, you know, they're all the same, but we got some nice cool dice. We got 6 of those. So alright, let's look at our cards that we get. Alright, so we're gonna just check out. First of all, we have our just reference cards. I had a couple of cards that were stuck in the box yet. I want to grab all those out so we make sure we look at all the stuff together. Treasures. Yeah, so this just explains your movements, your actions. Got all the character cards there. Those are all equipment. I didn't sort these out ahead of time like I should have. They sort out pretty quick, so I'm just trying to... Alright. So what we have there. So first thing I want to actually look at, before we look at like equipment and all that stuff, I want to look at our spells. I want to see what the mage and elf get. So we have 3 water spells. So we have Sweep. This puts a monster into a deep sleep. It cannot move, attack, or defend itself. The spell can be broken at once or on a future turn by the monster rolling 1 red die for each of its mind points. So we do have some red die, which are just regular d6s. We have 2 of those. For each of its mind points. If a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken. It may not be used against mummies, zombies, or skeletons. So this could be helpful. Like, you could put a guy to sleep, and then you could run by them or escape the room. Or loot. If you get super lucky, you can get really risky and try and like loot the room first and then do it. We have the Veil of Mist. This spell can be cast on one hero, including yourself. On the hero's next move, they may move unseen through spaces that are occupied by monsters. And then the Water of Healing. This spell can be cast on one hero, including yourself. Contact with this revitalizing water restores up to 4 lost body points, but does not give a hero more than their starting number. Then we have our air spells. We have Swift Wing. This spell may be cast on one hero, including yourself. It's a powerful burst of energy and enables a hero to roll twice as many red dice as normal the next time they move. The Tempest. The spell creates a small whirlwind that envelops one monster of your choice. That monster then misses its next turn. And then we have the Genie. This spell conjures a genie who does one of the following. Reopens any door on the board, revealing what lies beyond. Or uses 5 combat dice to attack any monster within your line of sight. So that's pretty crazy. But I believe when you use your spells, you only get them once per game. Unless you have some way of refreshing them. Yeah, so as a hero, you may cast on yourself, another hero, or monster. Once a spell is cast, a card is discarded for the remainder of the quest. Each spell may only cast once per quest. Use them wisely. So yeah, although you start with a mage, you start with 9. You have 9 special cards to use. You can't just use them all willy-nilly. Alright, then we have our Earth spells. Big giant Earth Golem. We have Heal Body. This spell may be cast on one hero, including yourself. Its magical power immediately starts up to 4 lost body points, but does not give another hero more than their starting number. This is one of the reasons why the book suggests that the for your first game or ever to start off, the mage takes the fire, and then the elf takes the earth, and then the mage will take the water and air. So that way, I think there's a healing spell on both players. We have Pass Through Rock. This hero may be cast on yourself, including your hero. That hero, they may move through walls on their next move. They may move through as many walls as their dice allow. Caution, there are shaded areas on the quest map that indicate solid rock. If the hero ends their move in one of these areas, they're trapped forever. So that's kind of fun. Like, you can try and run outside the border of the map and run in, or you can just run through a couple of walls. Then we have Rock Sting. This spell may be cast on any hero, including yourself. The hero may throw 1 extra combat dice when defending. The spell is broken when the hero suffers 1 point of body damage. And then finally, we have Fire spells, which have Ball of Fire. The spell may be cast on one monster, enveloping a ball of fire. It inflicts 2 body points of damage. The monster then rolls 2 red dice for each 5 or 6 rolls to reduce the damage by 1. Courage. The spell may be cast on one hero, including yourself. The next time that hero attacks, you may roll 2 extra combat dice. The spell is broken the moment the monster is no longer in the hero's sight. And then the Fire of Wrath. This spell may be cast on one monster, blasting it with flames. It inflicts 1 point of body damage unless the monster can immediately roll 5 or 6s and 1 red die. So this is why I think I also said the mage start the fire, because then they have an attack spells. Versus the water and air aren't as much attack as much as avoiding damage. So cool. Those are our spells. So let's look at our equipment. Definitely things we want to pick up. We have the Battle Axe. We have 2 copies of that. So this is weapon. This heavy double-edged axe gives you the attack strength of 4 combat dice. You may not use a shield when using this weapon. It may not be used by the wizard. The bracers, armor. These hardened leather bracers give you 1 extra defense dice, may be combined with a helmet and or shield. The broadsword, which we saw earlier. The chainmail armor light mail armor gives you 1 extra defense die, may be combined with helmet or shield, may not be worn by the wizard. The crossbow, we're going to get 2 of those. This long range weapon gives you the attack strength of 3. You may fire any monster you can see, however, you cannot fire at a monster that is adjacent to you. You have a limited supply of arrows. So this is kind of cool. So this way you have a ranged attack, but you just can't shoot if they get right next to you. We have the dagger, which we saw before. We have the hand axe. This hand axe allows you to roll 2 attack dice, can also be thrown at any monster in line of sight, but is lost when throwing. It cannot be used by the wizard. Nothing can be used by the wizard. We have 3 helmets. Protect the metal headpiece gives you 1 defense die, may not be worn by the wizard. The holy water. You may use the holy water instead of attacking. It kills any undead creature, skeleton, zombie, or mummy. Can be discarded after use. We have 2 long swords. Long blade gives you the attack strength of 3 combat dice. Because of its length, long sword enables you to attack diagonally, which is very helpful. More options. Plate mail. Heavy armor gives you 2 extra defense dice. However, because it's so heavy, you may roll 1 die for your movement while wearing it. May be combined with helmet or shield, not by wizard. Potion of speed. You may drink a potion at any time, while you roll twice as many dice as the next time you move. Card is discarded. The shield, we have 3 of those. This handheld armor gives you 1 extra defense dice, may not be used as a battle axe or the staff. We have the short sword, which we saw before. We have the staff. Long sturdy wooden staff gives you combat strength of 1. Because of its length, can you attack diagonally. It may not be used with a shield. And then our last one is the toolkit. So the toolkit is going to be disarm traps. Toolkit gives you 50% chance to disarm search for and found but unsprung trap. See action 6 disarming traps. Now they're all worth gold. So in between quests, you can sell them to try and buy. If you have gold, you can try and buy these items. Various rules for doing that. So sometimes you might want to just keep an item for that reason. Alright. Then we have some artifacts. We have some cooler weapons and armor and stuff. We have Borin's armor. This magical suit of plate mail gives you 2 extra dice. Unlike normal plate mail, this mysterious ultralight metal does not slow down its wearer. May combine with helmet or shield. The Rod of Telekinesis. Once per quest, you may use this rod to trap a monster within a magical force. The trapped monster misses next turn. Spell can be resisted by rolling 1 die for each mind point of a 6 it's resisted. The Elixir of Life. The small bottle of pearly liquid brings a dead hero back to life. Restore all their body points. May only be used once. Body and mind points. Fortune's Longsword. This long blade enables you to attack diagonally, gives you 3 attack dice. Once per quest, hero may use its power to roll 1 attack die. Orc's Bane. When using this magical short sword, you roll 2 attack dice. You may swing twice if attacking an orc. The Phantom Blade. This ornate dagger gives you 1 attack dice. Once per quest, when you attack with a dagger, you may target... When you attack with the dagger, your target may not defend themselves as the weapon passes through their armor. Ring of Return. When invoked, this magical ring returns all heroes the ring where it can see to the starting point of the quest. It can only be used once. Very good if you can just get over there. Ring of Fortitude. Magical ring increases body points by 1. The Spell Ring enables a hero to cast 1 spell 2 times, not simultaneously. At the beginning of each quest, the wearer of this ring must declare which of their spells are stored in the ring. Spirit Blade. This magical broadsword has an eerie handle of cardbone. When using it, roll 3 attack dice, 4 if attacking an undead monster. Talisman of Lore. This magical medallion increases your mind points for 1 as long as it's worn. The Wand of Magic. The Wand of Magic allows a hero to cast 2 separate and different spells on their turn instead of 1. The Wizard's Cloak. This magical cloak made of shimmery fabrics covered with mystical ruins is going to be worn only by the wizard, giving 1 extra defense dice. And the wizard's staff. The long-aching staff with soft blue glows with soft blue light. It can only be used by the wizard, giving them +2 attack dice and strike diagonally. So the wizard can't use lots of the normal stuff, but if you can find artifacts throughout the game or by doing certain quests and stuff, you can actually gain a lot of additional powerful items to make them beefier later on, which is really cool. Then we have treasure cards. So these are things we'll find by searching for treasure. So we have 2 gem cards, which we kind of looked at before. Tucked in the toe of an old boot, you find a small gem worth 35 gold coins. Record the money on your character sheet. Do not return this card to the deck. So most of these are only do one thing at a time. So that one does 35. That one does 35. I just want to check because we have 2 copies of gold here. So you find a loose stone teared from the wall. Behind you discover a small leather pouch wrapped in an old rag. Peer inside, you find 25 gold coins. Record the money. Then we also get 2 copies. Amidst old rag tired for a robe, so a blank, you find a collection of 15 gold coins. Alright. Then, while we're looking for our treasures, we might run into 2 copies of the hazard trap. Suddenly, stone beneath your feet gives away. You fall into a shallow hole, losing 1 body point, ending your turn. You may climb out, move normally your next turn, return this card to the bottom of the deck. These guys are going to keep popping up. We have 2 more hazards. They got, while you are searching, a hidden arrow shoots from the wall and strikes you. Lose 1 body point, return this, and your turn is over. We have a heroic brew. You are surprised to find a leather bag hanging on the wall. If you drink its contents before you attack, you can make 2 attacks instead of 1. It can only be used once. Yeah, let's just drink a random wall potion. We have 2 copies of jewels. You find a small wooden box. It is simple looking and very old. Within it, you discover that it is lined with velvet and contains small jewels worth 50 gold. A potion of defense. Amidst a collection of old bottles, you find a small vial containing clear liquid. You can drink this potion at any time, give you 2 extra combat dice the next time you defend. We have 3 copies of Potion of Healing. In a bundle of rags, you find a small bottle of bluish liquid. You can drink this healing potion at any time, restoring the number of body points equal to the 1 red die. You now ever exceed your original starting number. Potion of Strength. You can find a small purple flask. Drink this strange smelling liquid any time and you'll roll 2 extra combat dice next time you attack. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Wandering Monster cards. So as you search the monster stalks and attacks, Zargon places a wandering monster listed in the quest book on any square next to you. The monster attacks immediately. Turn this to the bottom of the deck. Awesome. So then our last set of cards are our dread spells. These are ones monsters can cast. So they can cast a Ball of Flame. The spell may be cast on 1 hero enveloping in a ball of fire. It inflicts 2 body points of damage. The hero then rolls 2 red dice for each 5 or 6, reduced by 1. So it's really fun about these is because instead of it just being like, oh, these guys just attack, they just walk around attack. Which even more modern games, that's all the monsters generally do. They might have a thing that says, oh, they attack at 2 range. Or they can attack anything in the line of sight of them. But they don't usually do anything generally special unless they're a boss. This is kind of neat because they're AI controlled. Usually, since you're having a player actually play as these, you can give them extra spells so you might not know what's going to come. So it makes the game a little bit more exciting and interesting. Cloud of Dread. This player paralyzes all heroes located in the same room or corridor. Paralyzing heroes are able to move, attack, and defend themselves. This spell can be broken at once or on a future turn by each victim rolling 1 red die for each of their mind points. Command. This spell puts any one hero under Zargon's control. This spell can be broken immediately on a future turn by rolling 1 red dice, roll a 6. However, if the spell is broken, Zargon on their turn can move the hero monster. Until the spell is broken, Zargon can move the hero as a monster and attack other heroes. Escape. The spell allows the spellcaster to disappear and instantly teleport to a secret destination, only knowing the Zargon marked as a safe place on the map quest. Fear. The spell can cause any one hero to become so fearful they may only use 1 attack die. Spell can be broken by rolling a 6. I'll say the same thing, I'm just not reading all of them. Firestorm creates a room full of fire that inflicts 3 body points of damage. All heroes and monsters in the same room as the spellcaster. Spellcaster is unaffected. All victims may roll 2 red dice for each 5 or 6. The damage reduced by 1. Not using corridors. The lightning bolt may be cast horizontally, vertical, or diagonally direction. The bolt will travel in a straight line until it strikes a wall or closed door. It inflicts 2 body points on all heroes and monsters. Rust causes any one metal sword or helmet to become so thin and brittle its users not be used again. Not effective against artifacts. Which is nice. You can't take this really cool glowing sword and then have it destroyed. Sweet. Puts any one hero to deep sleep. Sleeping is only attack, move, or defend. Can be broken by rolling a 6. Summon Orcs. This spell conjures a group of orcs to surround and protect the spellcaster. Roll 1 red die, get 1, 2, or 3, get 4 orcs, 5 or 6, get 5 on a 6, you get all 6 orcs. Summon Undead, same exact thing. Conjure spell, group of spell undead to protect them. 4 skeletons, 3 skeletons, 2 zombies, or 2 zombies and 2 mummies. And then finally we have Tempest. Spell creates a whirlwind that envelops one of your heroes of your choice. That hero then misses their next turn. So those are all of our cool spells that we can get. So the last thing we wanted to kind of take a look at for miniature-wise was I wanted to look at some of the decor that we can get. So I don't really have a way to hold these up super well, but we have the mage's table here. These are actually pretty darn thick and durable. But yeah, it has some like candles on there. This just adds extra decor to the room. We get a torture table, very detailed as well. Little spinning racks. So you tie their feet or lock their feet down, and you crank on this to like stretch them out. We have the tomb. Has a knight on the top. This is fun. It opens up, so you could hide something inside of it if you want. Just a fun little extra piece there. We have the fireplace, which is supposed to have like a mirror. Even the back is really cool. Yeah, again, you can put a little reflective thing on there, or you could put a picture, a painting up there, as well as have a mirror. But yeah, it's neat. So like those are all the different thems. Like I said, we got these little tiny ones here that have little skulls and other little things on there. So some of the skulls, you can see if they'll focus a little bit better. So there's the skulls. The other things are, I'm not even sure what those are supposed to be. Does the instruction book tell me? Probably not. Probably just says other decor. Uh, 10 skull pieces and 4 plastic rats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm not sure if they're supposed to be like, maybe they're like animal skulls. But what's neat about this, I'm going to pop one of these off here quick. So this is kind of the aesthetic you can do with this, is you could put a skull on your mantle stop. Just to kind of have it be like, just a little aesthetic. I'm not sure, I don't remember if any of the rules got same thing. You could put like a rack on one of those, or you could put them inside the crypt. Be kind of crazy as well. Alright, then we have 3 sets of these. I think, yeah, they're just supposed to be like animal or rat skulls. And then I have 4 of the rats. We have a chair. You know, a nice throne chair in your room. But if we're going to have a chair, we should have some desks or tables to go with it. It's a very simple table, which also adds just extra element. We have 2 of those. We have a work table. Has some potions, has some scales, some other cool stuff on there. We have the weapons rack, which has the lion and the skull shields on there, some different swords and other things like that. We have a couple of like big giant bookcases. We have a regular just bookcase. You know, like they did stuff on the back, like they didn't have to go to that length. We have like a cupboard one. They don't open, unfortunately. We have a second bookcase here, which looks the same as the first one. You have a couple of bookcases in your room. Then we have 3 treasure chests. All have the same pictures on them. And then lastly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closed doors. So you can use closed doors so you can have it. So that way you know the door is closed on the map, and then when someone goes and opens it, then we have the open door. And we have a lot more of those. We had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 open doors. So you have a lot more of those to do stuff with. Now, they could have made some other 3D things like the stairs and the blocks and stuff like that. But I just want to kind of put some of these on the board. So, yeah, they kind of sit in their different spots. Like you have a closed door there. You have an open door on this one. Kind of look at that a little bit. And we could put like a weapons rack in there. You'll have a treasure chest over in the corner. And then you have your different monsters. They're going to maybe hanging out in the different areas. Just kind of show what some of these might look like. Goblin could be hanging out in the hall. Mage is hanging out down here. Barbarians in here. So yeah, this is kind of what the board would somewhat look like when you're playing the game. And you have all the different stuff in there. And there might be stuff in some of the quests that even like reference the particular items. So it's not just they're in there for decor. It's like one here, it says, this treasure chest has a trap in it specifically. So yeah, like I just looked at this one. This is quest 3, so I don't want to get too far. So A up here has what's listed to the armory. It says, this is the orc's armory. The first who searches the treasure finds a staff weapon they may add to their character sheet or may give to another hero. Exactly the one described in the armory. So yeah, you get one of those, so you can get a staff in there. And then the other one's like, oh, if you search the treasure, it says B, if you search here, you find a gold. So if you're searching in this room, you find specific gold in that room. And then the other thing it has is specifically this guy here is Ulag. It says, use the orc figure the large sword to represent Ulag. Ulag has the following stats. So like I mentioned that before, like, right? You have the orc, you should specifically use this guy to represent that one, like, boss character versus the other orcs. And the other ones will play as the other guys. Yeah, so there's some different stuff in there. There's some stuff that's going to be like, search this bookcase or do this other thing. I was trying to see if I had like another example here quick I could read. Yeah, so like in one of the later quests we have D here, which is the tomb, which says, this is the tomb of the Witch Lord. The Witch Lord is released from his imprisonment when the first enters the room. Use the Dread Sorcerer as to represent the Witch Lord on the board. So this is where you use his, and this game he's going to be the Witch Lord. Next one he might be something else. But yeah, individual things. Do special things, different areas. So that's really cool there as well. So that is what we have for Hero's Quest. The base game. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to pick up some expansions and we'll do some more videos if you guys really like this. I know I said I was going to wait to show off some of the comparing stuff until I found more of the game, but I think I'm going to just do a quick brief one of showing off some of the differences of some of the stuff I do have found. I basically only have the miniatures. I don't have any of the cards and stuff, which is what I was maybe hoping to find. But yeah, I want to show off some of these. So, like, One second. Alright, so here's one of the new skeletons from the current game versus here's one of the old skeletons. So you can see definitely where they took the design from, right? Has the scythe, but you gave him some armor. He's a little bit better built, a little bit more interesting or cool looking. I have a couple of different guys in here. I just want to show some of these off. So we have our new barbarian with all the detail on him. Whoops, versus our old barbarian. You definitely see there wasn't as much detail on the old figures as well. They're a little bit simpler made, but they're still definitely pretty cool. They had like some of the furs and strands of hair and stuff, but yeah, they definitely, you can see, this is what I really love. Like when I said at the very beginning of the video, when they were talking about like, I'm talking about like upgrading stuff, this is the stuff I love. Like, you took the old game, you kept basically all the same, maybe you fixed some rules or things that were a little bit of an issue here or there, but like, you took all that stuff, but then you made all the other stuff really interesting or neat. By just upgrading the miniatures are really cool. Upgrading some of the models. So like here we have old mummy versus new mummy. You know, I'm trying to see which other guys we have because I don't have all of them. We have old orc versus, you know, new orc, but then all the orcs were the exact same. I think we might have had a different orc in here. We had slightly different orcs. So if I look at that, we have one that has a notch in his sword versus the other one that doesn't. Otherwise, yeah, basically the exact same orcs. We did get like an orc with like a butcher knife. So they did make some little bit of different miniatures for some of these guys, but they weren't like a ton. I think just to kind of help, so again, like you had like this particular guy versus this guy. Same thing, we had our goblins. We had three different goblins here. But yeah, even like look at just the comparison in size though, right? So there's our regular orc versus a new orc. There's a huge size difference. Here's our regular goblin, our old goblin versus an old orc. Versus, I'll put in the back there, the new ones. Where did I set him? I set him down there. Yeah, so like, goblins are about the same height, but the orc wasn't much bigger. You know, so making him a bigger, bulkier guy was definitely a cool move. Plus, they didn't have any of the female ones, which is also neat. So this is our elf versus our new elf. Again, they changed him to a female. I think there are alternate versions available in one of the expansions, if I remember right. We did have an orc with a flail, which is pretty cool. We didn't have one of those before. All the skeletons are the same. Here was our zombie. Our old zombie versus our new one. So he's just walking around with a big old hatchet. We did have the dwarf here. Let's show up the two different dwarves. Look at that. He gain, like the dwarf gains it like a foot. You know, like definitely cool there as well. I do have the sorcerer as well, so we managed to show up all four heroes compared to each other. Very cool. A neater looking staff. These guys are all dirty and dusty, unfortunately, so sorry for some of that. Sorry for some of this, the quality of trying to... There's our Dread Warrior. So they went from big, bulky guy with a giant axe and a little ball in their helmet to a big, giant, demonic dude. And all the Dread Warriors look the exact same. Did I have the wizard in here? I don't think so. I don't think I had the wizard. I have weapons for X-Men in here. Oh, I do have the wizard. Yeah. So here was our Dreg Wizard, which now they make look into a cool skeleton wizard. But otherwise, yeah, he just looked like one of these guys, just gonna, you know, very similar, but yeah, now he looks a lot different, looks a lot cooler, I think, you know, in the comparison. Did still look pretty badass, but and then we had the gargoyle. That's the old gargoyle. Whoops, he doesn't even want to stand on this because he's got such an angle. Yo, versus our new one. So he definitely looks much more like a gargoyle in that than he did in this one. The other, you know, whip is kind of cool. The other thing was also, like, he had removable wings. They came off, so if you had to store him differently. They did that as well. So that was all of those. But then we had some of the other cool pieces in here that I thought were neat what they did. So, like, again, these are really dusty and old. So sorry for all that. I'm actually going to drop these down a little bit so we can see these. So there's an old bookcase versus a new bookcase. So what they did with those is add some plastic components to kind of help hold them together, hold them in place, but then they were cardboard. So the color part was really nice. They had little spots on there to actually, like, you know, attach the rats and the skull so they stayed on there. But the problem is also being cardboard, as you can see, they warped over time and stuff like that. And then, like, a different bookcase picture on this one. But then we had, like, a table. Just want to look at some of these quick. Like, there's one of our old tables versus our new tables. But yeah, we kept, like, the double door cabinet. Like, we had all the pieces stayed the same. We just had different versions. There was the old tomb versus our new one, which is now missing its top. So it's kind of cool. It still had, like, a knight on there, but it's a different picture of a knight. But then this one didn't come apart at all, but this one opens up, which is really cool. But then you lose some of that color, but it has a lot more detail in there. Old treasure chest versus, of course, a new one. You know, basically about the same size. They didn't change the size on stuff too much, or they didn't have to. And you see lots of this stuff is very, like, aesthetic of the old ones. We have our old armory versus our new one. You know, even here, like, kept this lots of the same weapon. They just kind of changed size and shapes a little bit. Shield changed, of course. Old chair. New chair here somewhere. It's like that definitely looks cool. Sometimes the big plastic things with the cardboard didn't look as cool. I probably did catch something from all these. There's our tables. So you can see this one, like, had a little bit rougher time over time. The candle pieces broke off. This one's missing. I was trying to see if I had any other things I'm thinking of. But yeah, lots of the rest of these are the same. So the only other one I have on here that's I don't even have the correct piece for it that I see. It might be in here somewhere. I'm just not seeing it. Is I have our fireplace. So there's our new fireplace. Oh, big, bulky, heavy fireplace. This was our old fireplace. It just had a little stand that helped keep it in check. But again, the backs were just empty. I was all dirty and stuff, so I apologize. But, yeah, so there's that. And then the same thing, we had our doors, which lots of my doors are broken. But they had these little bases they slid into. So you had your closed door. Or you had an open one. But yeah, they definitely, the new stuff looks better. They're gonna more durable. They're gonna hold up better. They look cooler. Yeah, it's always that thing versus unpainted miniatures versus cardboard things that are colored. Colored things look kind of stand out, kind of neat. But in the end, it's not that big of a deal. Then we had some of the tokens and stuff, but like the tokens didn't really change too much. They maybe changed Their skulls are a little bit images, but they're not too much difference there. We had the dye, which my dyes are super dirty. But we had the same dye. We had like a shield on one side. We had a skull on there. But yeah, these things all got super worn out. Scratched up. With the black shield. So they really made it into a black shield. But yeah, that's what we had there. So that's kind of cool. I wish I had the cards to show off how different some of those looked as well. But yeah, that's really awesome. They upgraded this game. Yeah, hope to check out some of the other expansions. If you guys really enjoyed this, let me know. I can maybe do a better run through on how the game is played. Maybe some of that stuff would be really fun to go through. See you guys later. Bye.